In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a projectile attack to your custom dinosaur using the built-in BPDoAttack function that's on every dino blueprint. So the first thing we're going to do here is go ahead, open up your dinosaur blueprint. In the search bar, just type in DOA. It's going to bring up our function that we need, so go ahead and tick it so it's enabled. Next thing we're going to do here is go over to the graph. And over here on the left, under the My Blueprint, look for BPDoAttack, which is right here. Right-click it, implement that function. All right, so a little bit on this node here, the attack index, that's actually going to be which one of the attack infos that is back over here on the defaults is going to use right here, attack infos. We have 0, 1, and 2 on here. Some dinos will only have 1, maybe 2. Giga has 3. We're going to go ahead and use number 1 here because that is going to be the roar. So that's going to be our secondary attack that we're going to use to fire this projectile. So now that we know that this is attack info 1, that means that it is index 1 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag off here, do an equal, and then set this to 1. From here, we want to branch and then connect it up like so. All right, so now what we need to do is we're going to need to determine where our projectile is going to come from. Now, on most dinosaurs that have a projectile, like the dilo or the dragon, whatever, they have what's called a range socket on it, which is the origin point for the projectile. There's a couple things you can do here. You can either use an existing socket, or if you're making your own dino, you can always just add a range socket. But if you're using an existing dino and not copying a skeleton, what you can do is use an existing socket but offset it. But what we're going to do here, the thing I found the easiest to do is just go ahead and add a box component. Drag it onto the mesh. That'll give us access to our sockets here, and then go ahead and attach it to a socket. I put it by the drag, or on the drag socket, so it's up here by his mouth. And then let's go ahead and uncheck real time so he stops moving, and then we can move it where we want it. Now, generally, a projectile will not spawn when it goes to spawn, it's inside of a mesh. So if it's right here, it's most likely not going to spawn. So we're going to move it out a little bit. That should be good right there. And also, the red arrow, that's our X. That's the direction that the projectile is going to spawn in. So right now, when we fire it, it's going to fire off to the left. So we want to go ahead and rotate this box. And actually, it's already rotated 90 degrees. So if we just set that to 0, now it's facing forward. And if you want, you can go ahead and rotate. If you want it to go up a little bit more, go ahead and this should be a negative if you want to go up. Yeah, negative to go up, positive to go down. We want to go ahead and we'll set it at negative 25. Or actually, let's try negative 15. Yeah, that looks good. And let's move it up just a bit. All right, so that's going to be the origin for our projectile right there. So we'll go back over here to the graph, and over here on the My Blueprint, find our box component, drag it out, make it get. What we need to do here is get the world location. You can just type in location, uncheck context sensitive, and it's going to be down here under utilities, transformation, and it's going to be the green function. Same thing for rotation. And then now we need a spawn actor from class. All right, we're going to need to recheck context sensitive for that one. And then from the spawn transform, drag out and do a make transform. Then we connect location and rotation here. And then from the true node, connect there. And lastly, we need to set our projectile. I have a fireball projectile. It's nice and large, doesn't do any damage. I use it for a lot of testing, so we're going to go ahead and use that as soon as it decides to load. All right, so we're going to go ahead and search for fireball. Fireball test, that's my projectile. And we should be set. We have our attack index set, we have our projectile set, and we have our origin location set. So let's go ahead and save it, compile it. And let's give it a test. Yay, he shoots the fireball. And as you can see, for the most part, it's whatever direction he's looking. All right, one thing you might notice is that that fireball comes out before he really even starts to move in that roar. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a delay to it so that the fireball will actually emit about the time that he opens his mouth and the sound starts. So we'll go ahead and escape out here. Open up our character blueprint again. Now, this is a function. Functions you cannot have delays in, so what we're going to do is go ahead and take all of this out of this graph, and we're going to put it into the event graph. Then we're going to create ourselves a custom event, set it to run on server. We're going to call this fire projectile. And we're going to add underscore ROS on the end. That stands for run on server. Just makes it a little easier later on when you just have to glance at the event to see what it is instead of reading that fine little print there. So thanks to JSlay for that little tip. You can do the same thing with owning client, multicast, OCMC. All right, so now what we want to do is go ahead and add a delay here. We'll go for 3/4 of a second. That sounds good. And connect her up like that, and then head back over to our BPDoAttack, and from here we need to call our function for the fire projectile. So fire projectile, run on server right there. Save it, compile it. Test it. Oops, hit the wrong button there. Double tap the escape key on accident. Try this again. Yeah, much better. See, he's got a delay there. You could tweak the delay if you want to add it. Give it more delay, less delay, however you want to do it. But there you go. That is how you use the BPDoAttack function and make your dinosaur fire a projectile. Hope you have fun. Enjoy.